In this session, we're going to be going through how to use the XinaBox dashboard, which is based on Kibana. The web address we're going to be going to is data.xinabox.cc. The username is the first half, which is data, and the password is XinaBox, all lowercase. I've now opened a browser, and you can see I've put in that web address, data.xinabox.cc. Because I've already been to Kibana multiple times before, it has remembered the username and password. And if you recall, the username is data and the password is XinaBox. So it takes me to the Discover tab. You can see the different tabs here on the left. It's taken me to the Discover tab, and it's taken me to the default, which is the weather station index. If I open up this drop down, you will see that there are many, many, many different indexes that we could use, but by far 90% of the people in the world who are using XinaBox use the weather station index. So therefore we default to that one. In particular, you can see here, this was our first mission to the International Space Station in 2020. There's an index for that data that was collected, the solar eclipse for different kits, specialist high altitude balloon projects, etc. But what we're going to do is we're going to stick with weather station, because that is what my kit was configured for. So we can see here that this data is simply showing me the count, which is the number of data packets that have been received from all over the world during that time period. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to search for my own particular kit. So what I do is in the search bar over here, I know that my kits are always have my name. So I know that it's going to be something starting with Judy, but I leave the asterisk there. I click the search icon, and here it is. Now what it's doing is it's showing me that what I did is that a few minutes ago, I turned my kit on, and it's collecting data, sending it via my Wi-Fi connection over the internet to the XinaBox MQTT server so that I can see it here on the dashboard. But this doesn't really tell me all that much. So what it is that I can say, well, yes, within the last 15 minutes, but what I could also do is that I could say, let's have a look at the last 60 days. What has been happening in the last 60 days? And we can certainly see that I've had my kit connected for definitely the last 60 days. What I'd like to do now is that I'd like to show you the dashboard. So if I go to the dashboard tab on the left-hand side, when it opens up, it lists all of the different dashboards that everybody has put together for themselves. And so what I have done is that I've developed a very generic weather station dashboard that you can use. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just simply open up one of these weather station dashboards. This is a generic one. That's why it starts with 000. I need to put my name in to the search bar. That is Judy. So let's put that in over there. And we can see there is my data from the last, it's still on last 60 days. So what I do now is that I save that as my own dashboard. So up on the right-hand side, you can see in that gray bar, we have save. So what I do is that I take that and I'm going to call this Judy. And my kit is called UNDP because it's related to that project, weather station dashboard. Okay, and it's very important to select save as a new dashboard, and then I save that. So now I have a dashboard that relates to my own personal kit. So what I can do is that I can see that the average atmospheric pressure has been just over 101 hectopascals. My temperature, variation over time, the relative humidity. I have my kit indoors. It's inside my office. So the thing is that I'm not going to see much ultraviolet Maybe there are blips here and there, perhaps where the sun was shining directly in. Maybe I even had my window open, the light intensity over that period. And then the really great thing is, look at this data table. So if I scroll to the bottom of the data table, what I can do is that I can export the data either as the raw data in a CSV file or otherwise formatted in terms of a spreadsheet. So what I do is that I always go to this data table, I extract the data for myself, I export it, and then what I can do is once I have it in my own spreadsheet, I can then start working with that. So another few tips that you can try is that if we open this top gray bar again, what I can do is that I can say, I'm not necessarily interested in the last 60 days because you've had quite a season change over that period. I would like to look at the last 7 days. Let's say we're looking at the last 7 days. And I can see over here that I had a nice period of data collection over there. I did have my kit turned off for some time over the last few days. So what I can do is I can zoom in there. Okay, now I can zoom in on this data and I can see over that period, what was my temperature change over that period. I didn't have any UV readings, and we can see here, even on the table, my UV index is 0. But I would be able to extract the data from there. And look, this was very interesting. My light intensity, we can see here 1700 hours all the way to probably 8, 9 a.m. So that was certainly over a daylight period. So the reason why it's doing this, you can see that the data bounds, it's limited to the maximum and the minimum point in terms of temperature. So we can see that over that time period that I selected, the temperature, the lowest point was just over 20 degrees centigrade, which is absolutely fine. And what this is doing is that it's automatically adjusting to those data extents. And so I could certainly work with it like that. So this is very much a generic dashboard that you can start working with and you can start collecting your data. I'm going to open up this again. I'm going to go to quick, and I'm certainly going to have a look at what has been happening, let's say in the last 30 days with my kit. And what I really would like it to do is that I would like it to auto update. So I open this bar again, and you'll see over here, auto refresh. I click on auto refresh and it gives me the options. And I'm saying I would like it to auto refresh every 5 seconds. And that is great. And what I need to do now is that I need to save those settings again. So what I do is that I save that. And this time I don't need to save it as a new dashboard because it already has my name there. And so what I do is that I save that. And so now what is happening is now it's auto refreshing and it's updating the dashboard. So what I could do is that I could simply leave this on a screen and I could have a live update in terms of my weather station that I have in my office next to me.